Hello my friends, John LaRuffa here with another Straight Up Solo. And in this episode, we're going to take a look at Wild Tiled West. I'm going to show you how it plays, I'll go through the gameplay, give you a few turns to see the mechanisms, and then I'll let you know what I think. Let's get started. Okay folks, and as usual, please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't done so already. And if you have, I definitely appreciate that support. Thank you so much. So what is this game about? Well, this game is basically about drafting building tiles and putting those building tiles onto your player area here. And you're going to be covering up icons, which are either going to prevent you from losing points, like these horseshoe icons. You're going to be covering up these areas here that are shadowed in blue, or dark blue, I should say, to gain the bonus of establishing a city. Or you're going to be covering up these pickaxes, gold, or bullets to get a bonus on or to move up the income track with the pickaxes to get gold nuggets and to obtain bullets when you cover them. What you can't cover is you can't cover cows, you can't cover mountain or hill spaces as they're called, you can't cover the mines. So those spaces you can't cover. Now, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be drafting different types of tiles. There are basically building tiles, and then there are these land tiles. These with the brown on them are called alleys, and these with the green are pastures. And what you're trying to do is group these things together in such a way to be able to score or avoid some of the negative things that can happen to you in this game. Each round, you're going to, in the solo game, you're going to draft one of the 3 dice. So this is the way the game looks to start. And I'll show you just a couple turns right off the get-go because it's one of those games where I don't have to get deeper into it to show you what to do. And you're basically going to be drafting one of 3 tiles from spaces. I should say one of the spaces. And there's different rules of how you can draft them. And there's different expenses based on where the tile is. Some tiles are free to draft. Some will cost you 1, 2, or more gold nuggets depending on what you're going to do. And you do play with all the buildings in the solo game. While you do remove one of each type, you're not actually penalizing yourself and removing any of the actual solo buildings. So you have a full experience when you're playing solo. Now, what does the solo do? Well, the solo uses these cards right here to simulate the competition between wrangling cattle, which you're going to be doing in this game. And when you wrangle the cattle, you're basically deciding to score a grouping of cattle in a single pasture. And if you score them, you look at how much points you get depending on how many cattle there are. And you also might get a bonus. And so that's what this is going to do. The other thing that this deck is going to do is it's going to determine how many bandits are present in the AI or the opponent spot, because whoever has the safest town in these areas right here, in these tussles, will either gain points or lose points. Okay, so you want to have fewer bandits around, and the way you do that is you actually can avoid taking them as much as you can, or you can actually have your sheriff shoot them with bullets that you'll acquire. Okay, so let me go ahead and give you a couple of example turns. The first thing you're going to do here is you're going to take your income, and the income in this case is 2 gold nuggets, so I have that to work with. Then I'm going to roll these dice. I'm going to put these dice on the spaces that correspond to the numbers. So that's space number 1, which would correspond to all these buildings in this row. Space number 3, which would correspond to this tile for sure, and potentially these other ones if this tile was completely exhausted. You cannot skip spaces here, but you can jump spaces down this river, which I'll tell you about in a second. And space number 5, and space number 5 here also would be this row, and again, you can't cross the river. So what I'm going to be doing now is I'm going to look and see, okay, what do I want to draft here? Well, I can get some prairie tiles. This one has a bandit, has a cow, and also has a card. Those cards I can use for a set collection to try to score points. Or I could get a stable here, which would cost 1 gold nugget. That stable is a building, and that building, if I have no uncovered stable or horse icons, horseshoes at the end of the game, I'll get 8 points. Or I can get this, which is a big, larger pasture, but it also comes with a sheriff. And I like the idea of the sheriff because I have one bandit right here. So I'm going to take this one. It's going to be free. I'm going to put it right here. And in covering these up, oops, I'm sorry, I can't put it right there. You always have to cover and start with your X. You can't not do that. So does that really make sense for me to take? I always try to make it more difficult for myself. I guess I'll put it right here, and I will still get the bullet, and I will, oh no, I won't. All right, I'll put it right here. And the reason I'm gonna put it right here is it does satisfy that. It does cover that one space, so it'll count me negative points, but it at least gives me some areas over here that will be a pasture. So if I wanted to, I could spend one of these little boots right now, not spend it, but use it, and score those pastures and get 3 points. I'm not gonna do that right now, but I could do that to get 3. Okay, then the ones you don't use, you just take them off. Now, I cross over, I go to the next space right here, and this says, it's a cactus, so I flip a card. So what does this do? Well, it shows 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cows and 2 bandits plus this bandit over here. So right now he's got 3 bandits in his town and 5 cows. That 5 cows beats this spot right here. So I'm immediately going to put this over here. And this is going to count as 4 cows, and it reduces my ability to get the best bonus over there. And I will still keep adding cows from that point on, but I've used up 4, and so there you go. You can kind of see how that works to provide competition. All right, so I'm gonna roll again, and we're at space number 5 this time. We're at space 10, and we are at space 6. There's some small rules, like if you roll the same number, you just keep advancing down, etc. But it's not big. It's not important to get into that right now. All right, so I have access to the hotel, I have access to more bandits, and I have access to the cow space. Now let's say I didn't want this cow space. Because I'm on the river, I can spend 1 gold to skip over this spot and go to this spot. And I can spend another gold to skip over that spot and go to that spot. Now, if they're empty, I don't have to spend the gold. I can just go to the nearest spot. But you can spend gold to skip spaces. However, you still have to pay for the tile that's in there. So I don't have enough. I only have 2. Given my options here, this hotel has the potential to score me a bunch of extra points throughout the different tussles as long as I win them. And since he's got more than I do, I might want to do that. So I think what I'm going to try to do here is I'm going to take this, I'm going to spend 1 gold, I'm going to take this tile right here, and I'll put it over here. And that covers up a pickaxe, which will upgrade me on my income track. And you get income every time you cross over these spaces or you land in these spaces where they show the mine cart. All right, so I didn't take the others, so I'll remove those. And then go to the next spot here. Roll again. He does not draw a card this time. And I'm back on the 5. I'm back on the 14. And I'm back, well, I'm not back, but I'm on the 14, I'm on the 16. Okay. Now, if I can get Ramshackle Ridge completely covered in this first round, I'll get a bonus 8 points with it. So it does behoove me to try to cover this up if I can. And there's some bigger tiles that might help with that. But what's really important is there is a tile that has a sheriff on it. However, the issue with the sheriff is you can't shoot through cows. You can shoot through other bandits, that's okay, but not cows because they're too broadside, wide. You can't shoot through buildings and hills and other things. So if I was to put him there, they always shoot straight. So I don't have a good line of fire to shoot this bandit right now. So that may not help me. However, this is pretty enticing, although it costs 1 gold. But it does give me a bullet and does upgrade my mind. Let's do that. Let's take a little bit of a risk. We'll spend my other gold, my last gold. Take this. And let's go ahead and cover these spaces right here. Oh, that doesn't That does not bode well. I want to cover both of them, but if I do this, I split up my pasture, which kind of stinks. I need that bullet, so I guess I'm not going to do that there. Still keep the tile though, and maybe what we'll do is we'll go down here and do this. That'll cover most of this area. Now it doesn't help me in what I'm trying to do there, but at least it covers some of the town. Maybe I can finish this up and get the bonus. All right, so next turn here, we're going to go ahead and we're going to flip another card. Now it's 4 cows, but we've already turned over the 4, so we have to wait for the next card to flip. 2, 7, 11. So here's 2, 7, and 11 puts me here. Oh, I don't want to bump the camera. Okay, so I don't have any money, so that means it's going to be free tiles, and they're all free. Probably the best tile. So right now he's got 4, which is good. Probably going to win the tussle if we have one. This Saloon, is that what it is? Yeah, Saloon would give me a green card. That also gives me a green card. I have something, this little bonus card. You get one of these to start, and you can get a next one over there. Those will help me score at the end of the game. This gives me for having cowpokes on the board. So if at all possible, I'd rather get some more of these. However, I really want to fill in this town on this maneuver, but I can't. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait. I'm going to try for one more. Let's hope I get lucky. So I'm going to take this guy right here, and I'm going to put him right there. Now, I can't shoot that guy, unfortunately, because the building blocks it. But I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in my pasture right now, and I covered a mine icon or a pickaxe and a bullet. So that bullet gives me the opportunity to shoot somebody should I see him. But with the 5, that is enough for me to get the better reward. So I am going to put the boot in there, and that means that this entire pasture and anything I add to it now has been scored. So that gives me 6 points. And I get 2 alleyways. And I can put those alleyways anywhere I want, but they have to be next to one another when I do it. Well, that's okay. I have a plan. I'm going to put the alleyways over here in the hopes, well, let's put it over here in the hopes that I can find a way to insert the last tile right there and still score. All right? And so here we go. Last spot before the tussle. That's fixed, so I know I'm winning that. I'm going to roll. All right, 2, 7, and 15. 7, 2, and 15. That costs a gold, so I can't do anything with it. That one does not cost a gold. That is probably what I need, but I need to put it in a good spot. However, this is more cows and another bandit. But if I get another bandit, I'm going to be pushing up a lot that I have to worry about. So what I'm going to do in this case is I'm going to get this one, and I'm going to put it right here with this guy hanging out, and maybe later I'll be able to find a way to put some bandits in that area, and he'll be able to shoot them. All right, so that is a bullet. But I finished this town, so that's 7 points plus the 8. So that's a 15-point move right there, which I like. So 5, 10, 15, I'm happy about that. All right, now we go to the tussle. And because he has 4 and I have 2 bandits, I win the tussle. I get 2 points, but I have to put a hill bandit someplace out here where they're on a hill. And unfortunately, every spot that I have a guy seems to be protected by something or other, so that is a big bummer. It'd be nice if I could put it in a spot where it was adjacent to him, but it's got to be on one of these hills, so I'm not going to be able to shoot him, and the cow blocks that. So that's a little unlucky there. Either way, let's go ahead and put the bandit over here. Maybe we can do something with it later. Maybe we can get him to shoot both of those guys. All right. So I took the 2, and now that basically plays through about a quarter of the game. So you saw that kind of go through a bit of it. Now, the other mechanisms we talked about, We talked about buildings. Buildings all do something special. There's a bunch of them so that you can see them over here. A lot of different buildings you can build. They're all available in the solo. You've seen me do the wrangle method. You've seen that I have to cover these to avoid the negative points. I'm going to be trying to score, in this case, cowpokes. So if I get at least 3 of these boots out here, that's 7 points, but if I can get 5 of them out there, that's 19. And I'm going to probably get another one of those later. It'll be a second scoring thing. You get the points from maxing out or getting higher on your mining track. And there's other things. Oh, the hotel, +2, because that was the bonus for the hotel. When you win a tussle, you get the 2 points. So that gives you a good feeling. Now, the other thing this game comes with is a whole bunch of different boards, which I'll show you here. On one side, the boards are all kind of like the vanilla, which is what I'm playing on right now. The vanilla side, they're all different, okay? But they all don't have any special rules. Then, if you go to this side, they all have something else. Like this is an icon for a rope. So that's a special icon specific to this board. There is a carpenter icon specific to this one that does something different. A signpost. House in danger. So each of these boards here you can play with some different wrinkle going on. And there are 8 of them in total. I think 8. So that gives you, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8. Yes. So 8 of them in total. That gives you some different things you could do to kind of vary it up. But for the most part, this game is pretty straightforward and easy to learn and not too complex. It's a drafting game, it's a polynomial game, and it's a game where you're trying to, by the way, when you finish, probably almost half the board is still going to be empty. So that is not a game where you fill up the entire board and there's not a lot of strategic choices and you just fill it and you try to fill it without leaving too many empty spaces. That's not this kind of game. So now that you've seen as much as I need to show you, I think, to get a feel, let me tell you what I think about it. Okay, so Wild Tiled West, from a solo standpoint, is not that complex of a game by any means. It's a very relaxed but fun drafting game with regards to the different tiles you can get, the buildings you can get, where to put them, how you want to kind of evolve your strategy, what to go for. There's a lot of fun stuff going on here. And you saw about a quarter of the game. So there are 16 drafting rounds. There's 5 in the first round, 4 and 4 in the second and third, and then 3 in the final round. And then the game's over and you score. They do give you conditions in the back of the book from a solo standpoint about how much you're supposed to get. And so, you know, if you can get the lowest score is 50 and the highest score would be 150. That'd be the max. So there's a 100-point swing in there with regards to doing okay, doing the bare minimum and the maximum. So there's a lot to work for. The different boards vary up the kind of wrinkles that you can put in, new mechanics or so that you can deal with in regards to placing tiles and what they do and how to handle those things. And the buildings are pretty varied and they're pretty fun to use. Overall, this game's an enjoyable game. I think that it is better than some other polynomial drafting games I've played before. And it's a lot of fun. It's an easy breezy kind of game to play where you want to sit down and kind of knock out something relatively quickly without burning your brain in half. The nice thing about the boards being dual layered like that is that all the tiles actually stay in there, stacked in there. So you don't have to set it up all the time. It takes virtually no time to set up thanks to them being in their slots, which is awesome. And if you're going to play solo a lot, you can just leave one of all those different tiles in a bag if you want, or in the box, and don't even have to reset them and not have to remove them. So that's also handy. The setup is pretty quick and it even stores well in that regard. So ultimately, I think it's a fun game. One that I would check out if you like polynomial games, one that is fun if you like drafting games. One that you're not going to find anything novel or new. They do give you tough choices for sure, especially as buildings start to become more scarce and you spend your gold and you don't have any more gold left. You know, that is a challenge. And you know, you sometimes have no choice but to take tiles that have a bunch of bandits on them and deal with that and figure out how you're going to shoot those bandits. But the more bandits you shoot, the more points you score, because you do get 2 points for every bandit that you actually shoot. So there's scoring there. There's scoring with a little set collection with regards to the different cards that can get you a decent amount of points. And then you have your wrangling points and your special partner points you can get. So lots of different ways to score. Overall, a pretty fun game. I enjoy it. But not a game that I would say earth-shatteringly changes my solo experience. It doesn't matter. It's fine. But it would fit right into that middle area. And if you don't have a lot of polynomial games already, you don't have a lot of drafting games, this is a fun addition to put into your collection. If you have a ton of those that are already playing solo, and you look at it and you say, this is kind of one more of those, it kind of is. So it's up to you what you think. Either way, I really hope this video helped you understand if this is a game for you, or a game that you want to just pass on down the road and away from the town. So up to you. Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Whatever you decide to play in the future, I really do hope you have a fantastic time doing it. Take it easy, everybody.